Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chell, and this is Chell Reads a Bit. Today is a different video than what I've been putting out recently, which is a lot of vlogs. I am finally back with my end of month video. I know I didn't do it in September, but I was just not feeling it, and I also only read a few books, and I was like, so then I ended up never doing it, even though I was going to, even though it was going to be short, but I didn't. But here we are, it is now November as of filming this, so I'm coming at you with the September and October end of month tier ranking video. This is pretty much going to be mostly Spookopolathon from October, which is why I'm in my cat ears. I know it's not October, but you know, 'tis the season of October we're talking about. So I figured I might as well get, you know, dressed up. Not really, I just put these cat ears on, that's it. That's all I did. But I figured I have them, I wanted to wear them, so it was a perfect time. I'm talking about Spookopoly books, the books that I read in October, so, you know, it works. That is what I'm going to be doing today. But first, if you enjoy my videos, please feel free to give a like and subscribe. I would love to have you here. It really makes my day, it really makes Chibi's day, and we love seeing you here. And on the note of Chibi, he is in his pen. If you hear him scratching at his hay to eat it, just ignore it. He's loud. He's a menace, but that is, if you hear that, that's what it is. Or the sound from the fan from my boyfriend's laptop. Just ignore that. But let's get into the tier ranking. So as you can see, here is the tier list. If you haven't seen the other ones, I have a playlist. There's only like 2. It'll show me doing this, but this is where we are so far. These are the books that I read. Or read, and then I'm going to rank them. Let me go to my good old Goodreads to know when I read them, because I don't remember. Okay, here we go. So we're gonna start with September. Like I said, in September I maybe finished 3 books, and that is not saying much. First and foremost, we start, and if you see me looking down, I'm looking at my notes in my Goodreads, with September. I first started with a roll, I think, and it was Bullet Train. And I think it's by Kotaro Isaka. And it is based, it is the book that Bullet Train, the movie, is based off of. We're not going to talk about the movie, you're never going to watch it. But I did roll it, and I did start it, and I did kind of enjoy it for the most part. It was very weird. I didn't get very far, and I DNF'd it. I don't think it's a permanent hard DNF. I think it's like a soft DNF for now. I just ended up not being in the mood to read it. So we're starting off with a bang, aren't we? DNF. I DNF'd Bullet Train. It was just weird. I really didn't like the perspective of one of the characters, the dad, who is trying to get revenge, because it's like these 5 killers on this Shinkansen is what a bullet train is called in Japan, but they're on the Shinkansen, and I'm assuming they all interconnect at some point. I didn't like the one guy, the dad's perspective, because he was just over-sexualizing people and just a gross man, and I mean, I think that's the point, but still, it was just, I just became not in the mood for it, so I DNF'd it. So then after that, I rolled again for my TBR game. If you don't know, I usually use the Roll the Dice game from Fairy Loot. So that's what I was using for that. And I got Spells for Forgetting by Adrienne Young. So me and Adrienne Young have had a history. I read Fable because I'd gotten the YA Fairy Loot edition, and I hated it. It was not good. It was not for me. So, but I got this in the adult Fairy Loot, and I was like, okay, it's beautiful, I'm gonna give it a chance. It wasn't for me. It's pretty much just about this, these 2 main characters. The guy is accused of killing, their friend, and the girl is, and it's just, I don't even know how to explain it to you, because it's like supposed to be this witchy book. It's supposed to be very atmospheric in fall, I didn't get any of that. I feel like the atmosphere was very surface level. Like, a lot of the time they were talking about how the island, like how it's like as if it's sentient or like a living thing, but it was just like not well done in my opinion. It was very surface level, like barely anything with that happened. It was just so like in there for no reason. For me, I feel like the fantastical, witchy elements were just like afterthoughts. Like, you could have taken those elements out and it still would have been the same concept, just without that, like just a normal contemporary book. It didn't add anything. I don't think there was a purpose to it. I didn't like it. I didn't get the vibes. I didn't care for the characters. A lot of it was like miscommunication, not talking to each other, just, I didn't like it. So, and I actually don't remember a lot of it, but is it too harsh to give it garbage can, or could it be Who Is She? I don't remember reading her, because I actually forgot that I read it, so it's gonna be the first one in that. Who Is She? I don't remember reading her, because I just literally don't. I forgot I even read it until I was looking at this, but it's all flooding back to me, so I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. But that is where Spells for Forgetting is going. So after that, I decided to take life into my own hands, and I started reading A Perilous Undertaking. It's the second book in the Veronica Speedwell mystery series. I really enjoyed the first one, A Curious Beginning. I got the ebook from my library of this second one. I've been reading them from the library, so I got that. I really enjoyed it. I had a good time. I had a way better time than I was having with Spells for Forgetting. This was fun. I enjoy being in Veronica's perspective. I enjoy, for some reason, the English scholarly writing, that kind of thing. Her humor, her and Stoker's banter, great. The mystery was fun, but I really enjoy like learning more about them and their backstory, mostly, so I enjoyed it a lot. I wouldn't say it's living rent-free. It doesn't. It's not like a favorite, but it got the job done. It made me want to read. So I would put it there because I had a grand old time. I did have a grand old time reading it. It's always a fun time with them, especially like seeing Veronica and Stoker together and wondering where it's gonna go. And you know me, I love a slow burn. But if you want a good slow burn too, this series right here, The Novel of the Others, first book is written in red. Totally recommend. I love that series. It's amazing. So if you want a slow burn, I would pick that up, especially if you like paranormal romance. But after that, then I rolled and I got a fave reread, which was Old Magic, which I'm just gonna automatically put living rent free because it lives rent free. It's an old fave. It is a book my sister had originally read, and then she lent it to me. She's like, "You need to read this," and I did, and I loved it. And then I then kept her copy, which is like this cover. It's like a mass market paperback. And I never gave it back. I don't think she wanted it back. At some point, she was like, okay, whatever, you can have it. But I loved it. It is very tropey, very cliche, probably not the best literature, not the best written, very convenient. You could argue insta-lovey, but not insta-lovey, more like insta-connection, but there's more to it than that, but I really enjoyed it. It is one of those things, like, only certain books can be the exception to something that annoys me. So that this falls into that category. Because like I've said numerous times what Old Magic is about. It's by Marianne Curley. It's about Kate, who is raised by her grandmother, and they are witches, but it's on the down low. They don't really want people to know, even though it's a small town. They believe that they're witches, and they're shunned pretty much, made fun of. And then Jared comes along, and Kate is immediately not attracted to him, even though he's described by her as being attractive. But it's more of like there's something about him that she's drawn to, and then there's family curses and everything, and he's very clumsy, and things happen from there, and they kind of come together in a way. I'm not going to spoil anything. I recommend reading it. just go in knowing it's not the best. I know that for a fact. I know it's not the best, but I still love it. I still love it, and it lives rent-free. And it will always live rent-free. That was all that I read in September, which is why I just ended up not making the video. Well, for the longest time, it was me putting it off, and then I just didn't. I just didn't make it, so that's why. I DNF'd Bullet Train, did not like Spells for Forgetting. I enjoyed A Perilous Undertaking, and I had a good fave reread, so I only technically finished 3 books. Which is fine. I think that's fine. It's valid. If you finish 1 book, that is fine too. I just didn't see a point and was just not in the mood to film a video of just those books. And then we move on to October, where I was getting caught up on certain booktubers, because I say this all the time. I have a certain way I have to watch things, which I'm not going to get into the details because we don't got much time. But I was getting caught up on Becca's video, and then I saw the announcement for Spookoplathon, which was the Bookopoly that she decided to do in October instead of like normal Bookopoly. I think she just does it in September. So she did Spookopoly, and I was like, oh, it'll be my first Bookopoly, so I guess I'll do it. I was very excited, so I did Spookopoly. So these are the books for that. I was very excited. I had a good old time. Read quite a few books for that. Some good, some not so good, but we'll talk about it, don't worry. My first role was purple, so I had to read a book with majority purple on the cover. So I read Forged by Blood by Hewwooo. I think that's how you pronounce their first name. I think Okosun is the last name. My edition, I have the Fairy Loot edition, is mostly purple. This one is not, but I did read it for that. And this is hard because I feel like it was very important. It brought up a lot of important themes, and I think it was done very well. I enjoyed certain aspects. There is, and if you think this is a spoiler, just don't listen until I put my hand down. There is the whole fated mate trope in it, so if you don't like that, I would not go into it. But I enjoyed it in it, but I found certain things really good, but I also found things kind of predictable. It did take a little time for me to get into the story, which is not necessarily a problem, but there were certain things that I was like, okay. But I did enjoy it. Don't get me wrong, I did enjoy it, but I have to unfortunately put it in Lost in the Middle of the Road, because even though I'm at the end, I did enjoy my time. I have not really thought about it much since then. It's not that I forget it, it's that I don't know. It really is a matter of, it was good, but it wasn't like blow me out of the water. But I think it's important. I think it's a good read, and I would recommend it. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like 5 stars or anything. So that's where that's gonna go. I was lost in the middle of the road. And then after that, I rolled and it was like read a sci-fi or Mary Shelley book or something. So I read Scarlet, which is the second book in the Lunar Chronicles, which was also a reread. And I love the Lunar Chronicles. It's one of my favorite series. But Scarlet is my least favorite book. It is my least favorite. But upon this reread, I did enjoy it a little bit more. Just not that not enough to be like, oh, I love it. But I did like it a little bit more. I did enjoy Scarlet a little bit more to a point. But then she still pissed me off and got annoying, and I did. Scarlet and Wolf are my least favorite characters in the series. But I enjoyed seeing like Cinder and them, and seeing what they were doing and how they're all connecting. It's amazing. I love it. Even though I want to put in Living Rent Free, right? Because this series lives rent free. But Scarlet is my least favorite book. It is my least favorite book in the series, so I don't know. Do I have to put it in Amazing but Fell Short? Oh, that would be so painful. I'm gonna have to put it in Amazing but Fell Short of Perfect, because even though I love this series and I adore it, adore it. Not adore it. I don't think it's fair to put it in Living Rent Free, even though it does. Because I do have issues with it. I think the thing with Scarlet and Wolf, eye roll, cringe, no. Nah. Scarlet is kind of insufferable to be around in the book. And also, there's just, I think it has to go in Amazing but Fell Short of Perfect, especially if I'm gonna say these things about it. So, I still love The Lunar Chronicles, but like I've been saying, Scarlet is not my favorite book in this series. After that, I rolled and got I think it was something about ghosts and stuff, or hauntings, something. But it was like, read a book with a ghost or a haunted house in it, and you could put it up to interpretation, you know? But I was looking through my library app, because I don't really have many, or if any, books with that, other than like maybe Amelia Fang. They have like a ghoul or ghost butler, but I didn't really want to read a children's book or a middle grade. I'm just not in the mood for them, so I was like, So then I was looking at my library app, and I saw the Gillian Flynn book, short story, The Grown Up, was on there, and it mentioned haunting and stuff. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go with that, even if it's not true or not real or whatever. It's in the description. I'm gonna roll with it. So that is what I did. I read The Grown Up by Gillian Flynn, and I hated it. Garbage can. No, thank you. No. I know a lot of people enjoyed Gone Girl. I don't ever plan on reading it. I've never had a desire to read or watch the movie. It's just not my kind of thing. But I did this because it was only 60 something pages, and I flew through it because it was short, but I hated it. I think that it was trying to be shocking and edgy for the sake of being edgy, and it was just, the main character is supposed to be unlikable, but she's unlikable in a way that's not fun or makes me want to continue reading if it was a full novel. It was just annoying. It was so pointless. The ending, I'm like, oh, what? For why? Like, what's the point? Like, this is just, doesn't make sense. It's stupid. And it was just convoluted. I'm sorry. If you enjoy it, I'm happy for you. That's valid. But I really didn't enjoy it. I think it was just edgy for the sake of being edgy, and it just wasn't for me. I'm just not the girly for it. So that is where that's going. Garbage can. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to all you Gillian Flynn girlies out there. And then in that same day, I rolled again and got, I think, Michael Myers, which was read a sequel. And so I read Cress, of course. I read Cress, which is the third book in the Lunar Chronicles. I had such a good time. I love the Lunar Chronicles. But I did enjoy it. I know the first time I read Cress, I was worried about where the characters were headed, what was going to happen, or were they going to be okay and everything, so I sped read it. But this time, I know what's going to happen, so I just took my time, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed Cress as a character even more this time. I'm learning more about Captain Carswell Thorne, seeing him and Cress together, Cress learning how to be around people, and it was just so cute, and oh my god, I love it. And seeing where Cinder is, where Prince Kai is, where, I mean, I don't really care where Scarlet and Wolf are, so I don't care. And then you do see my favorite character a little bit, Winter. I loved it. It's not like my favorite book. I still enjoyed it. I enjoyed it immensely, so I'm going to put it in Living Rent Free, even though it does have some issues. And I know I just said Scarlet had to go down a bit because it was not, but Scarlet also isn't my favorite book. So, I don't know. You can call me a hypocrite all you want. You can be like, girl, your rules don't make any sense, but it's mine. This is my tier list, and this is how it's gonna go. I did enjoy Cress, and I think that it deserves Living Rent Free. I don't like Scarlet, the book, as much as the other ones, so it just makes sense that it's lower. But I had a good time. I was happy that I could fit this in and everything, and I loved it. I loved it so much. And then I rolled and got lowest rated. And you might be like, well, that's pretty easy. Just go on Goodreads and put your to be read shelf or want to read shelf and do by lowest rating. And to that I say, I know I know it should be simple, it should be fine, but I do not use that shelf on Goodreads. And like I said in my vlog, there's a lot to unpack with that, but we're not going to. We don't got the time or the money for a therapist on that one, but I don't use it. I should, but I don't. So what I had to do was I had to write them down manually and then write down the rating for each one from Goodreads and then use these eyeballs to figure it out myself. And to that I said, okay, maybe I should use the to be read shelf, but I did get the lowest rated in the list that I made, and that was The Last Tale of the Flower Bride. And if you would have seen that vlog, then I was very perplexed by how I felt about this at the end. I don't know still how to feel about it. It's not garbage can. I don't think it deserves that, because there was beautiful writing. And it's The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshni Chokshi. I don't know. Sometimes I forget I even read it, but then it's lost in the middle of the road. But I just don't know how to feel about it, because it's about this man who marries this woman who makes him promise that he won't try to learn her past. And I'm like, dude, what? And then it's obvious, inevitable that he does, and then it's like him recounting how they met, how they got to the point where he needed to know, and how he lost her. And it's, I figured it out really early on what it could have been, like what the big twist could have been. This dude really, I don't know. The writing was beautiful at times, but sometimes it was just a bit much. But it was beautifully written. Like, it was masterfully put together. But it didn't save it. It was very surface level for me personally. I just didn't. I just didn't. And I still don't understand how I feel about it, so... Because it's not technically lost in the middle of the road, because I don't feel fine about it. I don't know. But do I remember reading it half the time? No. This one's hard. I don't know, guys. I don't know. For now, I'm gonna put it in Lost in the Middle of the Road, and then probably, well, next month is December. Oh my god. So then I will just go back and figure out if anything needs to move. And it might. Who knows? But it was fine. It was fine. I don't know. But then after that, I think it was something about reading something with witches, or something with the occult, or something with a cult in it, or of course you can leave it up to interpretation. And I don't know why my voice just went country there for 5 seconds. That wasn't me. But so I chose The Foxglove King by Hannah Winton. I have the Fairy Loot edition, and oh yeah, and just to go back before I talk about this book, my issue also with Forged by Blood is that it was sent as an adult Fairy Loot book, right? It really reads as YA. And there's nothing wrong with it being YA. I just wish it wasn't marketed as adult, because it really doesn't come across that way, except for certain elements. But it just, the voice is not adult, the vibe is not adult. So that also detracted for me, even though it as a YA book is not bad. It's not bad if it is a YA book. It wasn't marketed or sent to me as one, and I don't like that. So that also put a strike against it. And I think a lot of times with these Fairy Loot books, they're really coming across as YA instead of adult, which is the box that I had. So that is a problem. And the Foxglove King also is an adult fairy loot book, and it also came across kind of as YA. It's not as YA. It was edgier, I guess. But it still felt a little YA, and I also didn't care. I just was reading it. I wasn't hating it. I wasn't loving it. It felt like another version of Serpent and Dove, but a little different. I didn't hate it like Serpent and Dove, but I also it was just there, and I just didn't care. So I DNF'd it. I just got to a point and I'm like, what is the point? What is the point of me reading this? What is the point? I could die tomorrow, and I don't want it to be while reading this book. Because I just didn't care, so I kind of skimmed to the back and stuff, and I'm like, for surely I wasn't about to read this whole book for this. And for sure, I did not. I stopped. At 117 pages, I stopped reading it. I was like, you know what? Nah. It's fine. It's fine. It's just not for me. It wasn't bad per se, and I didn't hate the concept, but unlike Serpent and Dove, I just didn't care. But with Serpent and Dove, I despise this book. I despise it. That part in that book really... No. And just like with Serpent and Dove, there's a whole big religion aspect. And you could argue, well, Forged by Blood has a big religion aspect, but the religion in Forged by Blood is very interesting, and there's more to it than just, I don't know, I enjoyed how different it felt to like Christianity or Catholicism or whatever. And I really don't like French settings for some reason. I think Foxglove King was also a French setting. Serpent and Dove was a French setting. I just don't give two flying fucks about a French setting. I'm sorry if you love that, and if you're in a French setting, it doesn't appeal to me. I'm happy for you. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't care. And so Foxglove King, literally, if it had to come down to if I did finish it, it'd probably be Who Is She? I don't remember reading her because it was just not me. Meh. It's a meh for me, but I did DNF it, so it goes in DNFs. But I read that, so since I didn't finish that, and I wanted to complete the prompt, I wasn't going to do what I did with Serpent and Dove for the magical readathon, so I did try to find something that did fit it, and something short, and I could complete quick, so I can do a different role. So I found a graphic novel of The Witches by Roald Dahl. I don't quite remember who the artist is. The art was kind of weird, but I did read this graphic novel. It was fine. I don't remember anything about it, honestly. I read it so quick. I just don't care. It was weird, I think. From what I remember, it was very weird. Very odd. And I think it's like this boy loses his parents, so he ends up with his grandma, who's a chain smoker. Cool. And she's telling him about how to tell if there's a witch and everything, and then things go from there. But it was fine. But I don't remember much about it, and I forget I even read it, to be honest. But again, I just wanted to quickly get that prompt done, because I'm not much of a witchy person. If there's witches in it, that's cool. I just don't go out of my way for things like that. I don't know what that says about me. That is what I did for that prompt. And then last, but certainly not least, I rolled and got mood read. And it was when we had to go to immigration, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna finish this book at immigration. But I did have a double that I didn't use, so I was like, okay, then after that I'll just pick up another book. I know doubles are supposed to be a punishment, but I'm gonna give myself a reward. But I didn't end up doing that. I didn't even end up reading Fairest at immigration, as usual. Who am I? I don't know. But I did read Fairest. That was the mood read that I chose, which is a book between Cress and Winter. Winter is the 4th book in the Lunar Chronicles, and the last one. It's 3.5. So I always read it before going into Winter, because it does give some backstory to Winter, and it does give you backstory on Lavanna that I think might be important to Winter. I at least always read it between. Of course I enjoyed it. I know a lot of people were like, it's fine. It's a fine book. It is what it is. I really enjoy Ferris. I liked seeing how Levana was and how she came to be who she is and the things that she went through and like why, and seeing things about her sister and where Cinder came from and everything. It's just, I loved it. I love this book. But of course it is a short book. I think it actually, from what I read in the thing at the end, it was supposed to just be a short story, but it became like a novel because it's too long to be like a short story or something. I don't know the logistics, but I did love it. I did love it. I mean, Levana's a terrible person. A terrible character. Boo-boo, tomato to her, but I do enjoy reading from her. Like, I'm sorry, she goes in front of Scarlet. I'm sorry. I prefer reading about Levana more than I did about Scarlet. What does that say about me? I don't know. But it's just interesting trying to grasp what is going on in Levana's head and her reasoning and her justification for what she's doing, because she is ruthless, and the things that she does when she's just 16, I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm not going to, but trust me, I mean, a lot of people think that it's like middle of the road, but I really enjoy it. Amazing but faux short. I know, weird. That's just me. But I really enjoyed it. I was really happy that was the last read for the readathon that I had, because I didn't want it to end on a sour note. I was happy, and I did finish a lot of books. A lot of books for the readathon, which was great. I finished 7 books for the readathon. I mean, come on, pats on the back for me. I really enjoyed my time doing it. I'm really excited to do more of Bookopoly whenever Becca does them. Maybe I'll also just whip out the board. Well, I only have the Spookopoly board. I don't know if she has the other boards. And maybe do that once in a while for my own vlogs. But I really, really enjoyed it. I really had a good time, except for the books that I didn't have a good time with. But I had a great time with the readathon. I did really enjoy it. I really am having a good time doing these readathons. I've always done the magical readathon, but first time doing Bookopoly, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm thankful to Becca for creating this readathon and also doing Spookopoly, which was a little different than her usual. I really enjoyed it. I really recommend checking out Becca. I'd be surprised if you don't know who Becca is from Becca in the Books. I'll leave her linked down below. That is all the books that I read in September and October. And I mean, October was, you know, let's just say a hellscape that I think Octobers have just not been good the past 2 years. And the world is shit, but we're not going to talk about it. But that is all the books that I read in the month. Well, in the month of September, October. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoy the tier ranking. I am interested to see where this ends up at the end of the year, which next month is December. I am recording this November 6th, I think, and I'm nervous to see what December has to bring, and November. So that is all that I've read in the past 2 months. I hope you enjoy the video. If you do enjoy my videos, please feel free to give a like and subscribe. I would love to have you here. It really makes my day. It really makes Tuesday, and we love seeing you here. And I'll see you in my next video.